Back in middle school, I had a friend who shared my love for trading cards, and I always thought of him as just a fellow nerd. My views changed dramatically, however, when one day I saw him beat up a guy who was twice his size. That's when I found out that my innocent-looking friend was actually a badass martial artist who used to compete at a national level. Now, some of you might be familiar with the kind of guy I'm talking about, but even if you don't have such a classmate, don't worry, because in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys about the top 10 anime where the MC is an underestimated student but is actually super strong. Before we start, quickly press the like and subscribe button so we can keep bringing you more videos like this one. Number 10, Trapped in a Dating Sim. The world of Otome games is tough for mobs. The very first anime on our list is Trapped in a Dating Sim. The world of Otome games is tough for mobs. Yes, this title looks less like the name of an anime, but the anime represented by the goofy title is actually a whole lot of fun. It tells the story of Leon, who finishes a dating sim set in a matriarchy after playing it for many days straight. After reaching the end of this annoying game, he tries to go to a convenience store to get something to eat, but on his way, like any other isekai protagonist, he dies. Leon wakes up as a child in a world that looks exactly like the one from the game. As if reincarnation in this annoying world wasn't bad enough, he isn't even the main character. Still, he uses his knowledge of the game to obtain some hidden riches, which helps him get into an elite academy. His knowledge of the game makes him the strongest character out there. But Leon just wants to live under the radar and find a wife for himself so that he can get married. However, soon he finds himself entangled in the complexities of the game and has no choice but to show just how amazing he really is. This really is a fun romantic comedy with a great power fantasy that will keep you hooked till the last episode. Number 9, Codebreaker. The story starts with Sakura, who watches in horror as a young boy eliminates many people by setting them on fire. While still thinking about it, she's shocked to see the boy again, but this time as her new classmate, named Rei. Sakura soon learns that behind Rei's sweet and kind facade hides a trained killer who will eliminate anyone who he deems as evil. The series follows these two, as Sakura tries her best to stop Rei from causing any more loss of life, while Rei keeps following his own ideals. There are some great action scenes here, and the animation isn't bad either. The plot is also intriguing and dark, but the series still suffers from a lot of cliches, which is why it's not ranked higher. Next up on our list is The Daily Life of Immortal King, which is a Chinese anime set in a futuristic society. In a world where people develop insane strength by cultivation, our MC Wang is a literal god. He is so strong that it only took him a few seconds to defeat the biggest enemy the kingdom has ever faced. And he did that while eating a bag of crispy noodles. What a Chad. But due to this insane strength, Wang has to be extra careful not to cause a natural disaster by mistake. To make things even more complicated, Wang is starting high school, and as you all know, that only leads to chaos. This seemingly simple plot creates some rather hilarious situations where our invincible MC tries to live a normal life, all the while dealing with some crazy scenarios. One thing that really impressed me is the gorgeous animation here, but then again, that's one thing we've come to expect from Chinese animation. The next anime on our list also takes place in a world where magic and extraordinary powers have become the norm. I'm talking about the Irregular at Magic High School, where students are enrolled in different courses based on their magic prowess. In this strange world, our MC Tatsuya and Miyuki get enrolled in First High School. During their initial testing, Miyuki shows great magical capabilities, so he's classified among the blooms, while Tatsuya lacks practical magic skills, so he's placed among the weeds. As the name suggests, the weeds aren't the most promising students, and no one expects much from our MC. But what they fail to see is Tatsuya's technical knowledge of magic. He's also a badass who's able to take down anyone in physical combat. These unexpected skills make him an irregular at this magic school, and his journey is full of excitement. Kind of a problem here. If you guys don't like this video, Senpai won't notice me. Oh, phew. Thanks for clicking like. I'm sure he'll look at me now. The next anime on our list is Charlotte, which is set in a world where some people are born with really useful supernatural abilities. Yu is one such kid who at the start of his puberty develops the ability to take over anyone's body for 5 seconds. Now, unlike most cliched protagonists who behave like mature 40-year-olds, even in middle school, Yu acts like a child who decides to use his power for his own benefit. He uses it to get into a really prestigious high school, and his abilities even help him get popular with girls. Now, Yu isn't dumb, so he is good at hiding hiding his powers, but it all changes when one day he comes across a mysterious girl who not only knows about his powers, but also has powers of her own. Charlotte is a really strong romance fantasy, and there's a lot of drama here as well. Moving on from one romantic fantasy, we take a look at another one called Beyond the Boundary. This anime is about our high schooler MC, Akihito, who one day notices a girl standing on the ledge of a terrace. Fearing that she might do something to herself, Akihito runs to the roof and tries to stop her. The girl named Mirai, on the other hand, jumps over a fence and stabs him in the heart. It turns out that she's a warrior who can slay phantoms, but she soon learns that Akihito isn't a phantom. Instead, he's a half-breed between humans and spirits. This makes him extremely strong and practically immortal. Now Akihito tries extremely hard to live a normal life, but Mirai keeps on trying to eliminate him until he asks her to join his club. This is a really good action romance where the animation and character design is top-notch, which is the hallmark of Kyoto Animation, the same company that gave us artistic masterpieces like Clannad, Hyoka, and Violet Evergarden. And Beyond the Boundary is just another one of their classics. Next up on our list, we have an anime that's been a blockbuster ever since it first aired in the summer of 2017. I'm talking about the extremely popular Classroom of the Elite. The show is about an extremely prestigious and competitive high school that is famous for producing world leaders. We watch the story through our protagonist, Ayano Koji's eyes. Despite his lazy and benign outward appearance, Ayano Koji is a true demon. He not only possesses insane physical strength, but also has a mind capable of conjuring crazy plans. This wolf hides among sheep by intentionally getting average scores on his intelligence and physical tests. He does this to avoid extra attention to himself, which allows him to execute his plans. He really is a cool anti-hero, and you won't get tired of watching him in action. Moving on from the devious Ayano Koji, we come to Araragi from the Monogatari series, who is one of the nicest MCs out there. Sure, he loves to peep from time to time, but behind his perverted nature is a guy who will give even his own life to save a frickin' vampire, just because he can't see anyone in pain. And Araragi turns into a half-vampire that is pretty much invincible. Now this obviously brings some big changes to his life, but he somehow keeps on living an ordinary life. He of course doesn't tell anyone about it, but he seems to attract supernatural people to him, and his encounters with these people lead to great adventures. Now, if you're a longtime anime fan, you must have heard of the Monogatari series. After all, it's universally acclaimed for its god-tier dialogue and unique but jaw-dropping animation. Moving on, we have Mob Psycho 100 at number 2 on our list. This Studio Bones masterpiece tells the story of Mob, a sweet and innocent middle schooler who is actually one of the strongest creatures on the planet. You see, Mob is an esper who can control physical and metaphysical stuff. To better understand his powers, he becomes a student of Reigen Sensei, who tells Mob to keep his powers hidden and to never use them against other humans. His words leave a big impact on Mob, who does his best to live just like a normal kid. The world around him, however, isn't so innocent, and from time to time, Mob has to use his powers to kick some ass. The show tackles the issues like young love, teenage angst, and childhood idols in a way that no anime has ever done before. Its otherworldly animation, perfect soundtrack, and breathtaking action scenes easily make it one of the greatest animes of all time. Now, before we reveal the number 1 anime on our list, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future uploads. The number 1 anime on our list is The Disastrous Life of Saiki K. It's a show that basically revolves around our protagonist, Saiki, trying pretty much anything in his power to keep his physical abilities a secret. It also tells us that unlike popular belief, having psychic powers can be a curse, because then you have to deal with issues, knowing what everyone thinks of you, and the sad inability to be surprised. But by far, the biggest concern for Saiki is keeping his insane powers under wraps, which is much harder than it sounds. I mean, look at him. He wears a really strange headband to control his powers. He had to hypnotize the entire planet to make sure that no one thinks his headband looks weird. Now, while Saiki can't solve most problems with his powers, he still ends up in a lot of trickery yet hilarious situations. Yes, this one is a comedy, and in fact, it's one of the funniest anime of all time. It really is an amazing show, and it should be at the top of your must-watch list. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Do you guys agree with my list? Share your thoughts and suggestions with me in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.